How's everybody doing today?
Good, how are you?
Excellent, thank you. I'm learning how to do Zoom on this little block on the right-hand side here.
Kendrick's doing better than everybody. He just finished the closing, right, Kendrick?
What? Congrats, man.
It's happening now.
Happening now. You're happening now and on a class how to make more money. I love it. That's
Absolutely. Could have missed this one.
That's drive, that's hungry. Tell your buyers or sellers congratulations. Oh, okay. You guys can all see my screen here. This is not much of a, this is some of my notes really, so don't mind if I've misspelled stuff in here.
Yep, it's good.
Awesome. All right, guys, we want to show you a little bit about some passive income opportunities, actually with Keller Williams Realty Atlantic Shore and stuff we can help you with as well. There's a lot of different investment ways to invest your money, make money, and get a good ROI on your money. These are just a few that are most common, I guess, with Keller Williams real estate, things like that. So we're gonna jump right in. Who's heard of profit share? Yeah.
Me.
Who gets profit share?
I do.
Awesome. Anybody else get profit share? Who we got? Stephanie, she gets profit share. Dan, you getting profit share yet? Ron?
I'm here.
Really? You getting profit share yet, Dan Mitchell? Okay. Anyway, right now, Keller Williams Atlantic Shore for the last 2 years has profit shared over $620,000 back to their agents. Last 2 years, we're averaging about $300,000 per year. I'll be very honest with you. 60% of agents in this office do not get profit share, and that's because they choose probably not to participate, or they haven't, helped the company grow by recruiting somebody to the market center. That is how you get profit share. And I tell some people that somebody said the other day, Alex, I think when he was in the hot seat, said, people look at us as if you called it, he said MLM, it's multi-level marketing company, which we are not. The profit share system is structured in a way, it is a trade. They call it a profit share trade. However, we tell people you do not have to recruit to come to Keller Williams. You don't have to participate in the profit share system at all. However, if you would like to grow a passive income that could be very large and lucrative and extend past your time in real estate, meaning after say your last house, you can keep getting money. In fact, after you let your license go, you can keep getting money. And God forbid, when your time is up and you pass on, you can will it to your husband, wife, partner, kids, grandkids, neighbor, whoever. It is willable as well. So we have agents in this office earning between $0, and I think I've seen some people as high as $3,000 per month. We have a handful of agents in this office that get larger profit share checks every month than my dad does in Social Security after working 35 years. So it is significant, it is real. In fact, it just got deposited in everybody's account on the 21st, which is what, 2 days ago? Or 1 day ago, yesterday. So very cool time of month. Who got profit share yesterday? Stephanie? Dan?
Did.
Ron got something, right? Ron, you get anything yet?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you. Anybody have any questions about profit share? How it works, briefly? One thing I'll say is the market center has to be profitable. In transparency, the first 5 years we were open under the old OP, we got zero profit share, nothing. It was because the market center was not profitable at all. However, since the month February 2013, we took over, we've been profitable that month. We've been profitable every month since then, growing every year, and we'll continue to be profitable as long as myself, Tom, Steph, Ron, everybody else that's here now is running this company. We will be profitable. Stephanie will beat us with a belt if we're not.
I get mean. Did you want to mention, I think we ended up number 15 out of the region last year for profit share?
for 2020, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Did everybody hear that? Number 15 out of 54 market centers, I believe, right?
Yep.
Out of 54 market centers, we're number 15 in profit share in a year where there was the pandemic, the economy wasn't great, people were laid off, in a county that has probably one of the lowest sales prices in the region. I think the only other one that's lower than us is Cumberland County, maybe Salem. We have, Bluebell. I always said, they said, well, what's your goal? And I said, my goal is to get up to profiting and profit sharing as much as Bluebell, South Philadelphia, places like that, high-end places that have high sales prices, high volume, high units. And because of our low sales price, we just got to do more units, which is fine. And eventually we'll be number one. I think we'll be number 1, 2, or 3. So that's our goal now. We can do it. Anything else about profit share? And one of the original investors, Gary Painter, he was one of the original 5 of us, 5 investors. Me, Debbie Bear, Barb Morgan, Karen Como, and Richard Haviland was the 5 investors who opened up originally in 07. And Gary Painter, God willing, he was our first team leader, awesome guy. He had a brain tumor, passed on. He had a decent amount of profit share coming because he was a team leader that opened us, and his wife, his widowed wife, still gets profit share. So it is an amazing thing. It really is. They used to have a saying for realtors: "You're only as good as your last deal." Where in the profit share system, Gary Keller built it so that wouldn't be, that you could actually have an income when you didn't have sales or when you're done selling, when you're retired. Amongst other opportunities, which brings me to number 2, ownership and other businesses. It says here at Keller Williams Atlantic Shore, we do really strive to create multiple business opportunities for our agents. And, we don't have several yet. However, the first one we started in 2019, which really 2018, we started. 2019, we opened up the agents, and that is Atlantic Shore Title, which is downstairs in Northfield location, Unit 100. It is a separate entity. It's completely separate ownership, but some of the investors of Keller Williams Realty Atlantic Shore own Atlantic Shore Title. And what we did was, after being open, because we wanted to make sure it was profitable and it was structured right, and it was secure, the late 2019, we broke off a chunk of the company, divided it into a couple thousand shares, and then sold those shares to our agents in the office, based on production, based on units, buy sides, things like that. And of course, hopefully the people that were using our in-house title companies and would use Atlantic Shore Title. Those shares sold for very cheap. They're $50 a share. Some people bought as many as 80, 90, I think 80 shares was the max, which accounted for about 2-3% of the company. So just, I had an example here. Those that bought, let's say 33, I think it was 33 or 40 shares, you about 1% of the company, which would give you about $2,000 a year. The total out of pocket was 33 shares. Total out of pocket for 33 shares was like $1,680. So your first year, based on our $200,000 current profit at that time, which wasn't a projection, because we don't want to tell you we're going to make money on something and not make it. They were getting a very, very large ROI. In fact, I didn't put the ROI here. I'll tell you what it was. It was 1,680 divided by 2,000. If you own, let's say, 33 shares, that's an 84% ROI. Again, nothing that's going to make you rich, but extra $2,000 a year. That was somebody's Christmas. That was somebody's vacation, somebody's extra car payment, paying off a credit card, something. It was some sort of passive income. Stop me if anybody has any questions. The goal for ancillary, or let's say partnered businesses of Keller Williams Realty Atlantic Shore was, first, title insurance, second, homeowners insurance, which we've discussed many times. We have a couple pro formas and offers. The third and final, and then the toughest one we've been in partnership with one of them now, we'd like to do it with is mortgage company. So eventually we would like to have ownership opportunities for real estate office, for title company, for homeowners insurance, and for mortgage. But outside of us, you could buy into any of these companies as well. Keller Williams, you know, if you find a Keller Williams opening up somewhere where you might have a second home, you have family, mainly when they're opening up locations, they're looking for investors that are, one, willing to recruit to the office, two, willing to train and help out, and three, willing to invest money. And with a 99% profit rate, Keller Williams nationally, actually, I think worldwide, they're a pretty secure investment. Stop me if anybody has any questions. Thank you, Laura, for fixing my little thing here. I jotted this down in like 45 minutes before this class, and the numbers and letters were all over the place, and she fixed it. Because technology just doesn't work for me. Market Center Investor. We do not have any chairs available in Northfield. We have a very small amount in Brigantine. Just to give you an idea, the agents who invested in the beginning with Keller Williams Northfield, they're getting about a 68% ROI. In Brigantine, we projected a very low ROI in the beginning. However, after 5 years, we're projecting about 20+%. Again, if you were to invest in any Keller Williams, they're going to want you to recruit cappers before you can even get the opportunity to buy it. So it is something that's a very secure bet. It's you know, can be more limited. However, it is available. Keep your eyes open. If I see anything, if you want to talk more about it, feel free to give me a call. Real estate properties. Anybody own a rental property, income property? He's got to own something on here. Let's.
You're not the only one. I'm good.
You're good. Okay. You go with buying properties? I like buying properties. Income properties is, you know, buy one property. I always tell everybody, if no matter who you are, really, everybody should own one real estate income property. It could be a retirement, so kids' college. I bought 5 properties. I put them under one blanket mortgage with a 20-year mortgage back in 2008, I think, 2007 maybe. Now being 2020, 13 years later, the tenants have paid off, you know, 65, 70% of that mortgage. In fact, I was able to sell one of those properties and pay off the entire mortgage. So now I had 3 without a mortgage. Buy one rental property, do a 20-year mortgage, do a 30-year mortgage. Even if the market never goes up after 20, 30 years, which being realtors, you know, is the odds of that are like slim and none. However, if you bought a property for $100,000, took a mortgage for $100,000, and 20 years later, tenant paid it off and it's still worth $100,000, whose money are you getting back? Not yours, the tenant's. The tenant is now paid down your mortgage to zero. You now have a $100,000 bank account for you to do whatever you want with it. Now, with the average increase of real estate over the last 40 years of 3%, do the numbers, 20 years, you should increase a good amount of money. You should be bringing home probably $130,000. So if you don't own a rental property or some sort of real estate, and you're in real estate, you need to change your thought on that and start buying stuff. In the next 6 to 18 months, we're gonna have a lot of inventory, a lot of distressed properties coming out that are being held back by the state of emergency with New Jersey. Thus why the prices are up through the roof, because there's no bad inventory right now. So save your money, get ready, start buying. As soon as the bank loans start coming out, you'll see them, because I think they're gonna come out in droves. Commercial property as well, same thing. This building here, that Northfield, this building, you could have bought this for 1.2, 1.3 million, earned an 8% net cap rate. So you invest $1 million, 8%, it's pretty good return. Not plenty of places to put your money at that rate, that kind of money. Some of these residential properties we're buying, even still with the market being up, are 15, 20%. Before the market, before COVID, there were 30+% return on your money. Did anybody ever, anybody have any questions about buying rental properties, income properties?
Yeah, do you have your income properties under your own personal name or under your LLC?
I've done them both ways. The last ones I have are under an LLC because when I got the mortgage, I wanted a blanket loan, one loan for all the properties, and they wanted me to have it under an LLC. But
Okay,
the LLCs, you can find lenders to give you the LLC loans nowadays. They're just far and few between. You got to really search. Elmer Bank, I believe, still does LLC investment property loans. I've owned them under my personal name. I just usually take some sort of additional insurance. You can get sometimes you can find an umbrella liability policy for you personally over everything you own, just as an extra layer of protection. But do you have a rental property now?
I do, but from talking to other
Awesome.
people, they think that really, ideally, you should, to protect yourself, put everything in a trust and then tuck it away. And then each individual property should have its own LLC because God forbid something happened there, they can only get the money that's in that particular LLC for that property and not wipe you completely clean.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that before as well. The trust, I would talk to an attorney about that. I was never really fully, knowledge about the trust part of it. A lot of title companies don't like when you purchase things in trust, so you probably got to transfer it. But I found I talked to several attorneys. 5 attorneys would tell me, yes, buy each one of the properties in a different LLC will limit your liability. And I talked to 5 others, and they'll tell you they're going to sue everybody they can. However, any layer of protection, additional layer of protection, can't hurt. Just remember, every time you open up an LLC, you have to file a tax return, and with that is costs and expenses. I was telling Stephanie a couple months back, we're not opening up any more LLCs.
I think it depends on the financing and the goals too.
Yeah, that's true. What do you mean by that, Flamer?
So a lot of the cheaper lenders like that give you the best rates require you to hold the property in your personal name because they'll resell the mortgage to Fannie Mae. So Fannie Mae does investments real estate up to 10 properties. After that, you have to go commercial financing. So you'll get a
Right.
better rate in terms when you hold in your personal name. So it really depends on what's more important, you paying the best rate and the lowest payment, or getting, that extra layer of protection with an LLC.
It's funny you said that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, definitely.
Initially, back in 07 or 8, whenever I bought those properties, it was 10 properties. It would allow you to have mortgages on. So I remember somebody had said, "We'll get the blanket loan, put them in an LLC, get one mortgage payment, and it'll take it off your personal credit." And it actually did. It only showed on my credit. They said it would show my credit if I didn't make the payment, which I didn't find out, and it would show my credit when I sold it. So that's a great point. If you want to get really into investing, 10 residential mortgages, but if you're going to get that many, I think I don't know who was speaking. I apologize, but I would definitely do them in LLCs if you're going to start getting multiple properties, because the more you have, statistically, the more the odds something's going to happen.
And keep in mind, the LLC really only protects you from that individual property. So, I mean, if you go out and God forbid run somebody over and they sue you personally, they could take everything you own, including the LLC. So it's only one layer. It's like bottom up protection.
You're saying it only protects you if something happens with that property.
Correct.
They're injured in that property. There's something happened to them in that property or to that property.
Correct. And even then, you have to really follow a lot of rules, treat it like a business. A lot of people kind of commingle their funds or don't open a separate bank account for their LLC and just assume that's enough just to open an LLC, but it's not from a legal perspective.
Yeah. What else? You have to have a separate bank account. You say treat it like a business. What do you mean?
Don't commingle funds, like don't deposit the rent check in your personal account because you have to pay your own mortgage that month. It has to go right into the LLC. Now, if you want to transfer funds once you do that, that's okay because you need the money for other purposes. But keeping expenses separate. Sometimes hiring an outside property management company gives you that extra layer, kind of like, oh, it is my business. I don't have these. A lot of people manage it personally, so there's different schools of thought between lawyers on how much protection that LLC actually gives you.
Right. Have meetings, have minutes to meetings. You know, they say every LLC is supposed to have like a yearly meeting and have minutes to those meetings. You know, I'm even guilty of that sometimes. So there is a lot of things that you're supposed to do to follow an LLC. A lot of people, you know, it's just one of those things you should be doing it because in case you needed it. If you need it, you're gonna wish you did. Rental, yeah, income properties is the best way to get passive income. It's the easiest place to enter into passive income, and it can be the most lucrative, and you can multiply it very quickly. You know, depending on how, you know, if you want to manage them yourself or hire a property manager. You know, I know people have sold properties to people that have, you know, 40, 50, 60, you know, rental units. It could be very lucrative. It's its own business. It literally could be its own business if you wanted it to. How about a RIT? Has anybody ever heard of a RIT? Real Estate Investment Trust is what it stands for. And basically what that is, you know, you can do them you can invest in large ones like on the stock exchange, some people's 401ks. You know, you can choose to put some of your 401k towards RITs. I mean, you know, basically they are large on that end. They're large conglomerate companies that own, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of properties that are either they're building, they're you know, renting them out, they're commercial leases, something, but it's a large scale return on your investment of the average, you know, ROI. So if they have 1,000 properties or probably 10,000 properties on that scale, and they're earning, I don't even know, let's just say 20% gross, you know, after the expenses, including management of that RIT, you know, you might get a 10 or 15% ROI on your investment. There's also, you could do private RITs, you know, it's something actually we've been talking about here. A lot of people, actually, Tom mentioned to me about a month ago again, a lot of people ask, you know, how can I get into investing in real estate without a lot of money? Or can I do something, you know, with somebody else the first time? So, you know, we're thinking just like your 401k or a stock exchange, you probably could invest as little as $5,000, or some people might invest $5 million into a large scale, you know, publicly traded RIT. So, you know, you could do it on a small scale where you have 10 people. If you have 10 people, all throw in $20,000. You got 200K sitting in the bank and you buy a property together. If you all made the same investment, you all get the same ROI. However, you know, the way it could be designed is you could maybe take his investments as low as $1,000 if you wanted to, and as high as 50,000, and everybody gets their proportional ROI back. Maybe on a smaller scale, you know, you buy 2 rental properties and 2, you know, fix and flip properties. And in 2021 or 2022, we make an average of 20% ROI and everybody gets a proportional ROI back. So real estate investment trust. Flimmer, you familiar with those at all? Do you see those in the commercial world at all?
REITs, I'm not at that level yet, but they tend to be buy huge tracts of property. So
Right.
you might get lucky and try to sell or buy for them as an agent.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you could go online through any stock trading account, even through a IRA or 401k. They're a specific type of vehicle. They have to pay out 90% or more of their profits to their investors, so they don't get taxed at the corporate level. So it's like a tax efficient way to hold real estate. Sometimes companies will create a separate REIT just for the real estate. Some of the big restaurant companies did that like 10 years back. And it was much more efficient for them. That they were able to realize value.
Save on the corporate taxes.
Yeah, they save on the
I didn't realize
taxes.
that's what I knew. It had to pay 98%. I didn't know why though. So it's the same on the corporate tax. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that way only the investors that receive the earnings will pay the tax, not both sides.
Gotcha.
So typically in a company that's a C corp, they pay taxes at the
Right.
corporate level, and then when they issue a dividend, whoever receives the dividend pay taxes on that as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did some sales for, I always call it a RIT, but the REIT, I think is the actual, the correct pronunciation, so thank you. For my guy Joe, he actually had, he collected about 1,000 properties in Camden. And we actually sold a couple of them that didn't fit into the REIT, I guess. And then he actually sold it to the stock exchange or somebody on the stock exchange there. And then they took it into their portfolio. So that's also an opportunity, not so much passive income opportunity. However, you collect enough properties, you might be able to sell them off as one package to an investor or to a REIT.
Yeah, I mean, if you said that 10 years ago, nobody would have believed you, but now single family
Yeah.
homes have become its own asset class in the real estate world. So you got big money buying up
Getting into it.
properties. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized that like '05, it seemed like, like obviously the market was going nuts and, big companies like, Black House, Fidelity were getting into buying residential real estate. And I thought after the market crashed, they would get out. They actually didn't. They actually doubled down and you started, actually my IRA was invested a small piece of it into some sort of REIT. I don't know which one it was. But it always did well. It was always above 8%, sometimes 10 to 15%.
Yeah, they even have whole developments in certain parts of the country where there's huge demand. They're building to rent. They're not building to resell and own.
Right.
That you normally see around here. So it's such a big market. They're actually buying tracts of land and developing rental properties.
I don't know if you guys have noticed around here, I don't know if they're involved in a REIT, probably more of like some sort of tax deferred program, but there's a lot of developers building rental income property complexes, nice ones too. They just built one behind, what's that, Ace Hardware there, or kind of behind the movie theater, I guess it is, behind Beacon. Huge place. I don't know, it's townhouses, got to be at least 100, 200 units back there. You got the one on Fire Road right over the expressway overpass there. You got 2 in Galloway they built, another one in EHT. Big rental complexes being built in our area. So when you have huge amounts of passive income coming from rental properties and you decide you want to go big, build a complex. Build a nice, beautiful complex, 100 units, have 100 tenants, and then you can hire a company, do property management, sit back in Florida or wherever you want to go, it's warm, and relax. Let me ask you, would anybody be interested in being involved in a REIT if we did one in, say, agents in the office?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
awesome. That's everybody. Okay, good. If anybody says no, just let me know. Or I'll write your name down. It's something we've been talking a lot about. It's Tom does a lot with has done a lot in the past with builders, and actually the idea he had with this builder was phenomenal. I had never approached a real estate transaction like that, even as an investor before. So I'm really interested in doing something which he's, him and Ron are working on, Ron and Christine. 1, and then 2, on my side, I deal a lot with investors. I got into real estate to invest in real estate. That's what I wanted to buy and hold things and buy and flip them. So I've owned probably, it's over 100 property. It's like 110 properties I've owned now in the last 22 years. And right now I'm in the buying and selling. So between what Tom was talking about and what Tom knew I do a lot with my investors, we've been talking about doing one of these REITs, basically getting a group of people together that can invest anywhere from 1,000 to 50,000, and we'll buy rental properties, buy flip properties, and it would get them at least a taste and maybe some experience into investing.
Shawn, are you going to run that like a crowd fund?
I guess, yes, that's kind of what I was thinking it was. If you didn't use the name REIT, when you say that, what do you mean by that?
So like Keller Williams would take in investment money from agents for partial percentage of ownership, depending on the purchase price, and then on the distribution of the profits would be broken down by the same percentage of input.
Exactly. Yes. Then the answer is yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking we would create a separate company, obviously, just for detachment and liability purposes. So, let's just call it Atlantic Shore REIT or Atlantic Shore Property Investors or something like that, and then offer it to and really anybody in the office, agents in the office, to, like you said, is maybe as low as we have to agree as a group, maybe as low as $1,000 or $5,000 investment, maybe as high as 50 or 75,000. Figure out a goal of what we want to raise. Figure out a goal of what we want as far as a return in the first 3 years. Figure out what we need to buy in order to get the return, and then figure out how much money we need to raise to capitalize it correctly. And then, just like you said, if you put $1,000 in and the return is, let's just say we had a 10% ROI, because that would be like a minimum, I would say. And it was let's say we made $150,000 in a year. Put $1,000 in, divided by 150,000. I can't figure numbers right now. You would get $1,000 worth of the profit of $150,000 profit. Put $50,000 in, you'll get a lot more back. So yeah, that's the way we want to approach it. I'm looking at it with this attorney and give me some more information about it, because I've never set up an actual REIT. So I want him to kind of give me the legalities on it as far as investors investing in properties. I've done a lot. Just want to see what the legalities of that is and how you structure it. And it's something we're definitely really considering. So we do it already. We just got to offer it to more agents and on a larger group. Yes. That is about the ideas I had for today as far as, well, the one other thing I was going to tell you is builders. This is something that just recently, there's not a lot of building on the mainland, and that's where I mainly work. On the islands, there's a lot of builders, but you can invest in a builder or a flipper. A lot of flippers on the mainland are always looking for funding. I have two guys actually. You give them money, no matter what you give them, they'll give you 10% back. Now, they don't want $5,000. They basically want 50 grand or more. So you give them 50 grand. When the flip's done, you'll get 5 grand back along with your 50. So investing in somebody that buys, fixes, and resells, somebody that builds, there's always opportunities for that. Those got to, start talking to investors, start talking to builders if you want to explore that avenue, especially if you want to do flips or build in the future. Maybe you can kind of invest in them and also tag along and learn or watch. I always tell everybody, if you have a property that would be a good flip and I'm looking for something at that time, I will usually bring you in on the flip. If you're an agent in the office, I've done flips with probably 10 or 12 agents in the office. So if you have anything that's a good deal and you think we can get it and the numbers work, I'll put up the money. I'll give you some tasks to do during the flip, but I'll put up the money, I'll get the contractor, and we'll do it together. So if you have anything good, let me know. Yeah, I can buy one now. I can buy another one now. I have two. I have one we're selling, one we're buying, and that's it. I need a third. Anybody have any questions about anything? Flips, investing, ROIs, RITs, profit share? There is a small amount of ownership in Brigantine. If you were to bring a couple cappers in, we can definitely, talk about possibility opportunity. But just like when I came into Northfield initially, I had to bring 4 cappers. Then I was able to get the opportunity to buy in. So we're always looking for growth. You can help us grow. We want to reward you. Look at Stephanie. She's like having a good old time over there. Yeah. All right, guys. You have any questions? Any more questions? Kendrick, did you close? You guys are a quiet bunch.
Shawn, did you want to go over disappearing cap real quick?
Oh yeah. I apologize. Yes. If you're not familiar with disappearing cap, if you bring in a capper, normally, the way Keller Williams International proposed it was if you bring in one capper, a quarter of your cap would disappear the next 12 months. So let's just say for simplicity sake, your anniversary date is January 1st. The calendar year is your anniversary date. And you bring in somebody in October, that's a capper. Your next anniversary date, starting in January, your cap will go down by 25%. We've been extending it we've been doubling that. So if you bring in one capper, we will cut your cap in half. Everybody kind of follow that?
You want me to send out the policy again so everyone has
Yeah,
it?
good. Send it out. I don't know if it's not half on there, send it, make sure we change it to half. But basically you would go from a $22,000 cap to an $11,000 cap. If you help us recruit one capper.
For
And
that year, not forever, just
for that year, exactly. And we don't need you to completely recruit them. I mean, if you can, great, but we'd encourage you to refer them, we can meet together, but refer them to Tom, myself, Stephanie, Christine, whoever you think the best. And Tom has basically 100% conversion with people in production. If they sit down with Tom, whether it's that meeting or the next couple meetings, they come over. But he's just honest with them, shows them how he can help them. So you have a capper you're talking to, let's all get a meeting together. We'll get them over, cut your cap in half. Anything else, quiet bunch? Did Kendrick say anything in the chat that he closed?
He did. He said, of course I
did?
closed.
Oh, nice. All right. Congratulations, man. You're so quiet. Everybody's quiet. So I just want to make sure you close. Congrats, Kendrick.
Great job, Kendrick.
Yes, sir. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to head out because I have to go get my kid from Apsigami because they go to school for 4 hours a day, which is so convenient during the workday.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
See you, Shawn. Bye-bye.
If you have any questions about anything I have on
Bye.
here, feel free to call me. Bye-bye.
Take care, Sean.
Bye.